When we look up at the starry sky and see the abundance of stars and the vast universe, besides admiring the vastness and magnificence of the universe, have you ever thought about whether the universe has an end? If time comes to its last moment, will the universe also perish? Today, let's talk about the demise of the universe. On the issue of the ultimate fate of the universe, many scientists have already conducted in-depth thinking and detailed research. So, what gives us insignificant human beings the right to judge the life and death of the universe? This is precisely the small and great aspect of humanity. By studying the laws of nature, finding commonalities with the evolution of the universe, we can explore the future of the universe. Therefore, to understand whether the universe will perish, it is necessary to mention an important concept: entropy. Entropy is a concept in physics which is difficult for many people to understand. Its definition is the degree of disorder of a system. The more disorderly the system, the greater its entropy, which is called entropy increase. The more orderly the system, the smaller the entropy, which is called entropy decrease. Therefore, entropy is not a concrete thing, but a kind of disorderly state. The index is the direction of development in nature. The second law of thermodynamics tells us that entropy always increases with time. Since time is irreversible, entropy is also irreversible. Entropy always increases, or in other words, the direction of time flow is essentially the direction of entropy increase, which is the entropy increase theory. That is to say, in a closed system, if there is no external intervention, its entropy value will continue to increase. The premise here is a closed system, and the second premise is no external intervention. For example, if we don't clean up our room as time goes by, the room will become more and more messy, and the degree of disorder in the room will also increase. If we don't clean up our phone, there will be more and more garbage, and the system will become more and more stuck. The room and phone here are both closed systems. If we want the room to be clean, we must clean it, which is a kind of external intervention. If we want the phone to be smooth, we must clean up the garbage or install applications, which is also a kind of external intervention. The growth process of the human body is an entropy increasing process. In the human body, which is a closed system, the various organs of the body must cooperate in an orderly manner to ensure the normal operation of the body. However, as time passes, the organs of the human body will gradually age, and the work of each organ will become more and more chaotic, eventually reaching the limit of entropy, which is the death of the body. Therefore, from birth to death, humans experience a form of damage that is irreversible. In the early stages of the Big Bang, our universe was in a low entropy state, which is the lowest level of disorder. As the universe expands and gradually cools, the chaos in the universe gradually increases, that is, the entropy increases to a higher level after more than 14 billion years. If it continues to develop, after several billion years, tens of billions of years, or even hundreds of billions of years, when the entropy of the universe reaches its limit, all the effective energy of the universe will be converted into heat, and the temperature of all matter will reach thermal equilibrium. This state is called heat death. Therefore, this theory is also called the theory of cosmic heat death. At this point, there is no energy left in the universe to sustain motion, and the entire universe becomes pitch black, dead. After 5 billion years, the hydrogen in the sun's core is depleted, and the helium inside ignites, undergoing helium fusion. The outer atmosphere will be blown away, and the sun slowly expands like a balloon, increasing in volume to its current size, becoming a red giant. In fact, Earth and other planets will be swallowed up by the sun, and the last remnants of civilization on the surface will also disappear. Earth will completely merge with the sun. After 500 billion years, all stellar energy in the universe will be depleted, leaving only white dwarfs, brown dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. The only celestial bodies that may still generate heat are newly formed neutron stars and white dwarfs. At this point, any surviving civilization will depend on the protection of white dwarfs to survive. After 5 trillion years, the supermassive black holes at the centers of each galaxy begin to devour the remaining white dwarfs and neutron stars. The last celestial body in the universe disappears, leaving only black holes. After 10 trillion years, even black holes cannot escape the fate of evaporation. According to Hawking radiation, the supermassive black holes with masses 20 trillion times that of the Sun begin to decay, a very long process. Eventually, the black hole ends in a violent explosion, releasing all the matter it had absorbed, and all particles will be amnestied. This is the death of the black hole. After 1092 years, all black holes in the universe have evaporated. At this point, the universe will be dark, with no luminous celestial bodies. The expansion of the universe slows down until it stops. There is almost no real-time activity in the universe, and the only activity is random. Subatomic particles dance in the universe, but eventually they disappear, and the entropy of the universe reaches its maximum. The universe will be pitch black, quiet, and nothingness. At this point, time disappears because time and space are dialectically unified. When space disappears, time loses its meaning. But is this the end of the universe? We want to know what will happen next. In fact, someone gave an answer to this question as early as the 1950s, and this answer has been partially accepted by the scientific community. This is the masterpiece of American science fiction writer Asimov. Although the final question is a science fiction novel, Asimov's description of reaching the universe and time lenses provides us with a way to study the ultimate fate of the universe. Let's take a look at how Asimov describes the ultimate fate of the universe. In 2061, humanity is about to enter the threshold of a Level 1 civilization, and two engineers are maintaining a supercomputer named Motorbike. This supercomputer is the most powerful artificial intelligence computer in human history, built by humans consuming all resources. It provides navigation routes for humanity's most advanced spacecraft and makes great contributions to human exploration of alien planets. This computer can learn and upgrade on its own, and over time it can solve some more difficult problems. The supercomputer has helped humanity to store, convert, and directly use solar energy, which is typically only possible for Level 2 civilizations. Therefore, humans no longer need to use dirty and inefficient resources such as coal, and have turned off nuclear reactors and started using the clean and efficient energy of the sun. Using solar energy, as long as the switch connecting to the sun is turned on, it can support the operation of the entire Earth society. The space station, which is 1 mile in diameter, orbits halfway between the moon and the Earth, and invisible beams of sunlight are emitted from here to the Earth, allowing human society to develop at an unprecedented speed. The supercomputer is maintained by two engineers inside this space station. One day, these two engineers were chatting. One of them said that with the sun, we have unlimited energy, enough energy for us to use forever. The other person argued that it was impossible to be forever because the sun also has a day to die. At that time, unless we can use all the stars in the universe, otherwise we cannot use it forever. The energy in these universes disappears after it is used up. The injuries in the universe are always increasing, and they are irreversible. These two engineers argued fiercely about whether the injuries in the universe could be reversed. In the end, they decided to ask the supercomputer to see how it answered the question. They entered the instruction into the computer, and the instruction was, how can the universe's injuries be significantly reduced or even reversed? The supercomputer fell silent, and all the indicator lights went out. This frightened the two engineers, and they thought that this instruction touched the safety limit of the supercomputer. After a while, the supercomputer restarted and gave the answer. Insufficient data, unable to answer. 1,000 years later, a human spacecraft is flying to the X-23 planet. There is a family of 4 on the spacecraft, and at this time, the Earth is no longer suitable for human habitation. Technological development has enabled humans to master the ability to jump in space. Humans have lived on many habitable planets in the Milky Way, and X-23 is one of them. Each spacecraft carries a supercomputer which is much smaller than the supercomputer with a diameter of 1 mile back then, but its operational capacity has increased many times over. The male protagonist on the spaceship looked at the endless starry sky outside and said with emotion, "One day, everything will come to a stop. The light of the stars will also go out. The damage will continue to grow, and the universe will come to an end." The daughter curiously asked the male protagonist, "What is damage?" The male protagonist said, "Damage represents the degree of energy consumption in the universe, and everything will be exhausted. Just like the antimatter battery on our spaceship." The daughter asked again, "Can't we just replace the battery with a new one?" The male protagonist said, "Of course we can replace the battery with a new one for our spaceship, but for the universe, stars are its batteries. When the stars are all used up, What can we use to replace them? The daughter cried when she heard this and asked, "Can't we make the stars shine again?" The male protagonist couldn't answer the daughter's question, so he asked the supercomputer on the spaceship the same question that two engineers had asked 1,000 years ago: can the damage in the universe be reversed? At this time, the supercomputer is many times more powerful than 1,000 years ago and can set the coordinates for space jumps in the galaxy. After a moment of silence, the supercomputer finally replied, "Insufficient data to answer." By this time, the spaceship had already reached the orbit of X-23, and the daughter stopped asking the question. 10,000 years later, humans found a way to slow down cell decay to prolong life to 300 to 500 years by minimizing injuries. All habitable planets in the vast galaxy were filled with human descendants, and the galaxy became overcrowded. The superpower evolved into a network of galaxies with nodes throughout the galaxy. Chips implanted in every person's body allowed direct communication with the galactic superbrain. Now on a giant spaceship, a commander worried about the future of humanity. He knew that if humans continued to develop at their current pace, in the next tens of thousands of years, human-populated galaxies would no longer provide enough energy for survival. He wondered if humans could reignite dying stars or create new ones in the nebula or reverse entropy in the universe. He asked the galactic superbrain if entropy could be reversed. The superbrain was silent for a while and gave the same cold answer from 10,000 years ago: insufficient data to answer. 100 billion years later, humans found a way to achieve eternal life by separating consciousness from the physical body and connecting directly to the superpower to access some of its abilities. By this time, there were not many stars left in the universe, mostly white dwarfs and neutron stars. A human consciousness discovered that the energy in the universe could not be used indefinitely and asked the same question. The superbrain immediately replied, "Insufficient data to answer." The human consciousness asked the superbrain to continue collecting data, and the superbrain replied that it had been collecting data for over 100 billion years, and its ancestors had been asked this question. However, despite trillions of attempts, the data was still insufficient. The human consciousness asked if there were any questions that could not be answered, and the superbrain replied that there were no such questions, only the need for more data. 100 billion trillion years later, the universe was completely dark, and entropy had reached its maximum. Before this, humans had merged all human consciousness with the superbrain to upgrade it and made the final contribution to its upgrade. In other words, the last human has disappeared completely. So, at the moment before the last bit of light disappeared from the universe, the last human consciousness stored in the superbrain asked a question: can entropy be reversed? At this point, the superbrain knew everything. All phenomena and laws in the universe were at its fingertips. It had surpassed the seventh human civilization and become the last existence in the universe. The last thing it had to do was answer this final question. This question originated from a debate between two engineers billions of years ago during their leisure time. Since then, the question had remained unanswered, and they had continued to collect data and evolve. Finally, the superbrain learned how to reverse entropy, but it could no longer find any humans to inform of the answer. It decided to use practice to verify this answer. It initiated the final program, which contained everything about the past of the universe. The superbrain released all its energy, which was the last operation to break the security mechanism. After this, the window was very clear, and it knew it would also perish with the program startup. The superbrain used the voice of the last human to say, "Let there be light." And so there was light.